Hi, we're back in the car. So, I wonder if the videos can actually show up reversed this time. Last week I recorded it just like this, and for that reason when I tried to edit the video, I was suddenly sitting over here and, the video flipped it over for some reason. Normally it never does that, so I don't know why it happened this time. But okay, fine, we're here again, and it's a rainy day, so great, lovely. You won't be able to see much through the back window. You can see some, I guess. Well, it's a big white spot anyway, so we won't see too much. Anyway, so I want to do a quick update for this week. I had bought those things the other day, those dehumidifiers. Let me grab one. Because they started off with a blue dot, and as you can see, it is now a gray dot. And it has definitely made a big difference in the car, having one of these here. Because last Tuesday, I went to work early in the morning expecting that there was going to be some fog on the window, and the front windows are all clear, so it already had done quite a lot to dehumidify the car, which is great. And it's now that it's raining, of course, we're going to need them even more. And I'm just glad that I got two of them so they can work extra hard. The only window that was not super clear was the back window, but that's because the dehumidifiers are in the front of the car, so I imagine that whatever moisture is back there needs a little more time to come forward and then eventually gets absorbed. I guess it is currently no longer going to do that, I think, because when I drive around early in the morning and the windows are fogged over, or a little bit fogged over, or have a chance to fog over because it's cold outside and I'm warm here breathing my moist air, I turn on the heat to put it all the way up and then just let it blast until it's super hot in the car, and then I kind of let it cool down a little bit, but that'll definitely make all the moisture rotate around in the car, and then eventually it'll get caught by one of the dehumidifiers. I got two of them, so that's great. That's the car situation. Back doing my usual thrifting thing. I like doing that. It's a bit of a nasty day today. It's been very windy, it's been very rainy, so not the best weather. But still, I wanted to go outside, and now that I have a car, it's much easier for me to do that, because before, when I didn't have a car, I didn't really miss not having a car, but every time that it would rain or something out there, I'd be like, yeah, I don't really want to go cycling in the rain. Maybe I can walk to the train station and then walk from there and grab an umbrella or something, but that also is no longer needed, so that's great. I only have to do the short walk from and to the car, and that is all, and that is very convenient. Anyway, so that's one thing. It is the last weekend of NaNoWriMo. I think it is the last November weekend this weekend for this year. And I've been struggling through it. I've managed to make all my word count goals for every day. I'm actually ahead, as I usually am, because usually I write a little bit more. I think I said that last time as well. And so the story itself is only just now giving me vibes, I guess I would say, or some type of notion that it's going to be an interesting story. But the issue is, of course, we're on day 26. I think this is the 26th of November today, and that would mean I have 5 or 4. No, there's 30 days in November. I would have 4 more days to develop the story before it goes into the freezer for a whole year, because usually between Novembers I don't tend to write much at all. So it's kind of like only now, after struggling through a whole lot of stuff, that I was like, okay, I need to get this out of the way, I need to get that out of the way, that I'm actually starting to have ideas about where the story could go. Now, quick recap. I don't think I actually told you guys the story before, or a quick recap for... no, I've actually kind of resisted talking about NaNoWriMo this year, for the most part. But... so the story is, there's this kingdom, and the main character is one of the 2 sons. He's the second son of this royal couple, obviously, and he gets married off before his eldest brother, because his eldest brother has been resistant to change. He doesn't want to get married, doesn't actually want to do anything royal. It's just kind of like, want to do his own thing. He's a little bit childish in that sense, a little bit immature, because there are certain things that you're raised to do as a royal, I would imagine. So anyway, so the youngest gets married off, and he actually doesn't think that the person that he's supposed to marry knows that he is a second son, because that could also be an issue. Like, she may have expected to marry the first one, because the firstborn is usually most interesting and that sort of thing. And the level of interest in the royals decreases with every number, I guess, lower that you're on the birth rank totem pole. I don't know. So yeah, initially he thinks that she might have made a mistake, but turns out she actually wanted a second-born son because she wants to be the queen in her own land, so that works out. And they have a fairly good time together. Now, after a couple of years, he gets a letter from his dad saying that his mother passed away, and that's not even the most shocking part about the letter, because the father is very resentful in his letter. He's like really complaining, and he's talking as though he's writing to both him and his brother. And so he goes, the main character goes back to his homeland to see what's going on and how his mother died in the first place, because honestly, he didn't think she would. She seemed okay last time that he saw her a couple of years ago. Because it's of course in the medieval type days, like not non-fiction medieval times, but just fiction medieval times. So like a medieval setting is the word I'm looking for. So people don't just call and write an email. Well, they can write, but they can't email and stuff like that. They can't text. So any type of letter has to travel several days before it gets anywhere. So that type of setting, it's only been a few years. How come she died already? She's too young for that. So he goes back and figures out why the letter was so angry, and turns out that his father and his older brother, who had still lived at home at that point, actually had a fight, and his brother just left. Didn't say where he was going. So at the point that my main character arrives, there's this he's gone, and the father's like, I don't know where he's gone, I don't know what's going on, and so they need to figure out what to do in case he never returns, because nobody's heard anything from him in a while. It's been a couple of weeks. And so they're trying to figure this out. They involve the spy master and all that sort of thing. And meanwhile, and they also devise a plan to figure out who would take over the throne if the father dies and the brother hasn't returned yet, because that's a bit of an issue. So they do that. In the meantime, the main character finds a suspicious vial in his bedroom, which contains some type of strange liquid that looks like it moves kind of slowly. And the next morning, because he discovers this as he's about to go to bed, next morning this woman walks in and tries to sneak over to it, but she notices that he's awake, and then suddenly she's like, oh, I just kind of walked in here automatically, sorry, didn't mean to do that. And then he's like, that's really suspicious. So he goes and has that liquid investigated. He involves the spy master as well. And then they eventually come to the conclusion that she was poisoning the mother. They came to that conclusion very quickly, but of course they didn't have CSI and police department and all that sort of thing. So they did it all themselves. And so that person gets taken down into the dungeons to question, and she actually admits it. So a couple days later she gets executed, and a couple days after that he finally goes home, because he was only going to stick around there for about a week. So we're kind of there now. And now I'm thinking, oh, we could do something with the brother, and we could do something with this kingdom that he was suspected to have gone or been kidnapped to live at. There's all sorts of things that coming up now that could happen in the future story, but there's only 4 days left, so I don't know how I'm going to do that. If I'm going to make a part 2, I don't know. We'll see about that, because it's been a struggle so far. I've managed to make all the word counts, like I said, but it's always been like really slow going. I'm easily distracted because I just don't really have the interest in the story itself. And so it's just been tough, but we managed it. So eventually I'm going to have the 50,000 words, and after that, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll figure something out. Maybe I'll just go and completely abandon it, or perhaps work on a part 2 for next year or something, with a little bit more structure in it, because that's usually the main thing with me. I don't tend to have a lot of structure to my stories, so I just kind of write whatever I feel like, and they tend to be reasonably well thought out, like in the days themselves. When I'm writing, they tend to be fairly well thought out, the parts that I'm writing, but the whole overall structure is missing. So then you can just keep going on and on and on and stuff like that, and that is only fun for so long. So that is what I'm doing this weekend, probably. Of course, I'll be back on Tuesday for more Stardew Valley. Hope to see you then. Hope you're having a good time in the meantime. Let me know in the comments below what's going on with you, because it's usually a bit of a one-way communication through these videos, and I would like to know what's happening with everybody else. So I hope you're doing well, and hope to see you in another video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.